I am the Nick Shell. The Nick Shell that walks the streets at night talking about nothing but hair loss. And I received this comment from our good friend, Andrew Moss. Is that dog gonna be too loud? And here's what Andrew, you know what, I'm gonna shut the, you know what? I'm Nick Shell, I can do whatever I want. If I wanna move the camera and I want to shut the garage door, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do whatever I want. Exactly what I'm gonna do. Because I ruled this joint. There we go. How's that for ambiance? All right, let's get back to the comment. I made a video called Besides Hair Loss, Other Physical Indicators of Male Aging. And Andrew Moss had this to say, quote, "Yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes you see really old men with Norwood zeros, but then it accentuates their wrinkly face. It's almost better to have a bit of balding going on when you're older because perfection in one sense will inevitably draw more attention to the imperfection in another," end quote. And I think that's wisdom. I think that comment is wisdom. It is funny because I think I myself have probably even done that. I thought when you do see a man with older hair, you do notice the other things that make him look older. I'll think of a perfect example, Ronald Reagan. I mean, could we even say he was Norwood one? And he was, in all his age, he had this hairline that was just in this thick hair. But I remember there was a show called Designing Women. I was watching this show that looked back on the 80s, and they showed a clip of that, and they were talking about Reagan's neck, saying that it was a droopy neck. And I'm thinking, okay, well, there's a guy with the perfect head of hair, but now they've got to make fun of his neck. So it is an interesting situation that you're only going to draw more attention to one thing. If one thing is perfect about you, it draws attention to the other things. And that's, I think, how people often are, is in themselves and others. No one can truly be perceived as perfect. And even a man who's so perfect, so good looking, well, then he's conceited, right? Or he doesn't have anything else going for him. And I think that's why it's interesting and a good thing to have the character flaw of hair loss. It's not a flaw, and I say that in quotation marks because I don't mean it with my heart when I say it. That it's good to have this perceived imperfection of hair loss because it challenges you to make up for it in other ways. And not that anyone would choose hair loss, but of course the younger you are, the more you're going to depend on other things that actually matter. So I think it does draw attention to other parts about your aging. I mean, and I think I've even, one of my favorite shows, I always say it, is Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown. And I'm always catching up on the new episodes of that. He was in his 60s. He had a perfect head of hair. But if you allow yourself, you're like, okay, so this man was early 60s. Well, okay, yeah, I can see his wrinkles. I can see his teeth weren't perfect. And you can start picking apart that way because aging is aging. Everybody ages. And women have to fight this more than men as far as in general, it affects women more. They don't necessarily lose their hair, but there's all these other ways that they're fighting aging. And it's almost like with men, don't really fight the physical parts of aging except for their hair. And I think that's where a lot of anxiety comes from, because some men may never lose their hair, and in their mind they're competing with those guys who are never going to lose their hair, when in reality, especially as a man, you're judged by all these other things more so than women are. Women are not judged by the same criteria as men are, as providers and being smart and intelligent, having to do all these things that we're dependent on. The way that we actually attract females from being confident, oh, I can provide a living, and all of these things, we're judged by a standard. And I'm all for complete, women's rights and women being able to do anything a man can do. But at the end of the day, there are certain expectations that are put on men who attract women that women are never going to fully be responsible for those same things that men are as part of the masculine identity, as far as attracting a woman, as far as attracting women. We all know it's not just about her. We all know it's about your confidence level, your ability to woo her, to be kind to everyone and to help other people, all these other things, and especially to financially provide. So those are things I think that take the place of that burden itself, takes the burden of, oh no, I'm going to get older. And we can put this superficial thing about hair on there as a thing, but that's only a distraction, because a woman cares less about how you're going to lose your hair over your lifetime. And in the end, it's about all those things I just said. I guess that means my time's up for this video. Oh, comments? Sure, right here.